Hello. Well, a little over a week ago, I had a mystic experience. This is something I have from time to time, and describing a mystic experience to someone who has not had one is a little bit like describing body or gender dysphoria for someone who has never experienced that. It's actually very difficult to put into words. Um, this particular experience, not unusually for me, when I've had these, brought real clarity. It seemed that quite a lot became very clear to me. There was some insight, more than just vague insight, but really deep insight with it, and an understanding, and also quite a deep felt inner sense of um, this happening through a connection with the divine. My own faith is Christian, but it's not mainstream. I do tap into the mystic tradition, the wisdom tradition, and I'm also very open to the teachings of the Gnostic writings. And I am also an interfaith minister. So I have studied and draw a lot of inspiration from the teachings of other faiths, especially where they overlap. And some of those I've spent quite some time exploring, particularly Kabbalah in Jewish mysticism. So that just sort of gives my background here. Um, but mystic experiences like this real sensed, felt experience of a divine connection, are very important as a part of that journey that I'm on. Why do I mention this? Well, this particular experience, I think, unusually, it might actually be the very first time I've had such an experience, which very specifically relates to my gender journey, my gender confusion, was solely focused on that. This idea of the masculine and the feminine um, qualities, the energies, and how they play together. And I guess that could be extended. This wasn't particularly clear in the experience, but that could be extended to how we express ourselves. But the overriding message that I had from this was, in fact, there were two overriding messages. One was, this is not sinful. It is not actually anything to feel guilt about. It is something which is very beautiful and indeed relates really to the original human model, the human imprint model, and possibly what we return to when, if you do take the Christian tradition, you would say there is no male or female in the Christ body, in the spiritual body. And this was the way in the original Adam Kadmon, this human prototype before gender, sex, duality came to be. My experience was of, as best I can describe it, as I say, this is really very hard to do because it doesn't lend itself to words very easily, was like seeing the yin and the yang symbol, the black and the white swirls, rotating, and not just rotating, but moving in different directions very, very quickly. And the blocks that you have in each area, the white and the black and the black and the white, and everything kind of merging, not completely merging, actually. I could still sense a distinction in color, the sort of little pixels there, but very much this kind of merging and a sense of coming into a state of oneness, which again is the ultimate destination, really, if you're on a journey like mine, if you have my kind of faith. And indeed, this ties in with the ideas of nirvana, coming into the kingdom of heaven, and so on. Again, not following the mainstream Christian tradition there, but this idea that we do merge, our souls merge into oneness when we are fully integrated, and when we have, our soul has learned its lessons and separated from everything that separates us from God. That, by the way, is my definition of sin, my understanding of sin. Sin is separation from the divine. So that was message number one. This is not sinful. I only offer this because that was the message to me, but I cannot see if you are open to holding this mystic tradition view like mine, and I obviously realize lots of people don't, and they will have their own particular faith traditions, but for those who are open to that, I think this is quite an important message. It is one way to be. It does not say that the concept of the mystic union between two partners in a loving relationship and the two souls coming together is not beautiful and a part of the design and the model either. But it is saying that this is one way to be. The other main message that came to me was that I cannot be boxed. I'm not someone that can be defined by a category. In other words, male or female in this case. So that was also quite a reassuring message. When you have these experiences, they're very real. There's a very real sense of being told something, being shown something. And that's why I think it's important. So I wanted to share this. Hopefully it might prompt some reflection for some, as I say, particularly if you do have an open mind. If you are on a faith journey, a spiritual journey, you do have an open mind about these things. Beautiful experience when it happens, and certainly very reassuring for someone like me, who in my earlier life spent a lot of time feeling incredibly guilty for the great sin I was committing in being different sexually.